Let's talk about being spiritual or finding spirituality. Let's talk about spiritual consciousness. And let's also today talk about how A Course in Miracles helps us to understand spiritual development, freedom. And later on in the podcast, a few minutes from now, I will be sharing with you a meditation that I use for spiritual needs exercise. And today's podcast is called To Be Spiritual, Spiritual Consciousness, and what is it, and how to grow spiritually. Sounds kind of exciting, doesn't it? Hey everyone, this is James Nussbaumer. I'm the author of The Master of Everything. It's a series of books that begins with The Master of Everything, and it is about helping you live a better life, understanding spiritual consciousness and being spiritual and without any religious hint to it, and what all my podcasts are about. And I've been lately been people have been messaging me with nice things people have been saying to me about these podcasts. So I hope you enjoy. Sit back and relax and listen if you would, and with an open mind, not brain, an open mind. I think you're going to learn the difference today. And by the way, as you're listening to me right now, it is, as I'm recording this right now, it is Monday, December 18th, exactly 1 week before Christmas. And Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy Hanukkah as well, and any other holiday that falls around here. But before we get going here on spiritual consciousness, freedom, and how to awaken to understanding how to grow spiritually. By the way, if you're listening to this at my website, in the footer the footer below or the header above, you'll see a YouTube icon, because this is at YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you're listening to this at YouTube, please go ahead right now while it's fresh in your mind. Click on subscribe and subscribe to my channel. The term spiritual consciousness is a wide principle with area for lots of points of views. Generally, finding spirituality in spiritual consciousness consists of a feeling that is linked, like a linking of that something with a capital S, a feeling that we're linked to something larger compared to ourselves. And it generally includes a look for significance in life, for abundance in life. In our transition to spiritual consciousness, freedom, to feel free with spiritual consciousness and spiritual needs, we need to develop an understanding that our source, with a capital S, our source of life, or God, which I call, and you can use any term that you'd like, but that's just what I use, is within us and does not reside in any location somewhere out there. You're not going to find God somewhere out there beyond the stars. He's beyond the stars within you. So that's hard to understand for the ego in us, and I'm going to explain that in a second, I think. But I will tell you from my own research and my own investigating and just, picking around and looking and checking up on people that once walked this earth and even the ones that do today. I found in my own research that the world's most successful who have ever once walked this earth, and of today, and even those that are, you can bet on, that have still are yet to arrive in this world, all these people learn a way to success by going inward, going within themselves and reflecting their inner abundance to their outer world. Yes, they create it within first and then reflect it off the light of their reality to the outer world. That's hard to understand by the ego in us, which is a body. That's what the ego is. The body is where we harbor our fear, doubt, judgment, condemnation, hatred, The God within us, the spirit that we are of God, certainly does not harbor hate or fear. It's the body that harbors this. Now, A Course in Miracles helps us contemplate that. What I had just said about the body is what harbors this stuff that we're afraid of. The Course in Miracles states, "Yet only this you can escape. The home of vengeance is not yours. The place you set aside to house your hate is not a prison, but an illusion of yourself." You know, yes, a way to success for many. Let's talk about that for a second. The perception seems to be, and it always has been, and we've been taught generation upon generation, that God up in heaven, or let God hear us cry out to him, as though he is somewhere outside to reach for, somewhere that we have to reach for, out there, somewhere where we need to pray over and over and over to get him to listen to us, somewhere out there, as though he might be busy with something else. Okay, but the world has done a great job of programming this belief, or this perception, if you will, which comes from the concrete thinking of the hard-headed ego, it's which, is, it's a that, it's a elusive thing, it's a thought system within us that is hard-headed and doesn't want to grow. This promotes the fear of God in us as we cry out for salvation. You know, we hear the term, oh, he's a God-fearing individual. And, you know, we are taught to think that being God-fearing is what we should be doing, fearing God. Why would we want to fear our Father? This fear promotes the fear of God, as I'd said, and this fearful perception leaves us with uncertainty and dread of the unknown. You know, isn't being spiritual calm and relaxing? Wouldn't you say? I would. Hey, I want to read that quote to you. Actually, it's a principle in the Course in Miracles again, about, you know, when you think about the hate that's inside of you and the fear and the judgment, it's the body, not your spirit. It's the body that's projecting that hate and judgment and doubt, fear. The Course in Miracles states, "Yet only this you can escape. The home of vengeance is not yours. The place you set aside to house your hate is not a prison, but an illusion of yourself." So, you know, no wonder we are so filled with doubt and cannot really seem to uncover true spiritual consciousness freedom, and is why often spiritual help is needed. Maybe perhaps why you might be listening to this podcast so far, looking for things to reflect on. But can you change that right now and be the individual you've always wanted to be? Sure you can. You can begin your journey for tapping into spiritual consciousness by making a shift in your perception from outside yourself to within yourself by using the following exercise that I'm going to give you for at least 21 days. But now let me repeat this paragraph again so I don't, because this can be a little bit complicated with your ego listening, and your ego is listening, because the ego in you that's trying to analyze and dissect, or the part of you that's trying to analyze and dissect what I'm saying, that's the ego in you. But there may be those of you that are just sitting back and relaxing, and as I'm speaking to you, it's just flowing across your brain, and you're getting it without having to dissect or analyze. That's the spirit in you, just getting it and enjoying my words. So, you know, you can begin your journey for tapping into spiritual consciousness by making a shift in your perception. And that shift means in your perception from outside of yourself to within yourself. In other words, a shift in perception. Start looking at yourself right now, as you're listening to me. Look at yourself as not a body, but as the Spirit of God. Yes, as the Spirit of God. Look at yourself as the Spirit of God as you're listening to me by using the following exercise each day for at least 21 days. Now, you can see this as a meditation if you'd like. which is what I like to do because I'm so involved and I love meditation. And that's why I love yoga too. I'm really getting excited with yoga. But see it as a meditation and spirituality, and like I said, perhaps maybe a yoga spirit technique if you prefer. But I must add that if you haven't already, I urge you to go and seek out some kind of mindfulness training or a breathing meditation program. There's plenty of them, and they're all good ones. You can find them at my website. But many people use yoga, spirit exercises for weight loss, and which that's available too at my website. You can look that up. But I've put together this meditation based on principles and real cool lessons contained in A Course in Miracles that I found to be helpful, and I use it as a daily routine for me. But give it 21 days. I'm going to go through this with you right here, right now, in a second. I suggest it to be a great idea to continue it even beyond the 21-day mark as you feel the need just for a maintenance kind of thing. But give it a 21-day boot camp, so to speak. 21 days. Set a time every day where you're going to do this exercise. Mark it on your calendar. 21 days. The idea is to start out slowly and gradually attain the goal of recognizing the majority of anything you perceive as within yourself and from within your mind. Now, don't get worried that this is going to be complicated, because if you're starting to feel a nudge of worriness or concern, that's your ego coming up. Oh, what's he talking about? This is going to be something difficult. I don't have time for this kind of stuff. See, that's the ego. No, this is very simple, quite simple. Finding spirituality is great. Also, the goal is to enable you at a moment's notice, in an instant, to move any outside perceptions you may have to within your internal or natural realm. Once you get used to this and you do it for 21 days and then use it for maintenance following, you will find this to be totally natural, to where when you start to get a little upset over how the world is treating you, or just some things going wrong badly in your day, you'll naturally learn how to turn that around real quickly and think from within, from the spirit of you, rather than thinking from the ego. Within, not outside of you, is where you get spiritual help, because within is your spirit. Outside of you, all you're going to find is a body that's filled with fear, doubt, judgment. I sip on my coffee, excuse me, and hatred. That's the body. So with the help of the Holy Spirit, you will learn to bridge the gap. Yes, a gap from perception over to knowledge. Think of two peaks over a big valley, and the valley is filled with all this ugly stuff that can't even be walked through, kind of jungle-ish kind of stuff, and wild animals and stuff in there. But you're at one peak. That's your perception. But there's a higher peak over this valley of a jungle sort of thing, and that higher peak is your knowledge. So the Holy Spirit, the Spirit in you, is going to put a bridge from perception over that gap to knowledge, to the higher peak. And that's what this exercise helps you do. It helps you learn to transfer perception over to knowledge. We call that the Holy Spirit bridging the gap for you, making a bridge for you to walk across to knowledge rather than perception. And only knowledge can be of spirit, because the ego has no knowledge. All the ego can do is assume, make assumptions, make projections. Does that sound familiar? This can only be done from inside and is impossible from outside yourself. This idea of seeing the bridge that the Holy Spirit bridging the gap can only be seen from inside yourself, from within, and is impossible. So if you dwell on it from outside yourself, from your ego, it's going to be quite complicated. So here is your spiritual needs exercise. We can call it a spiritual needs exercise. So what you're going to do is start out today by taking 5 minutes. That's all. 5 minutes to yourself each morning. Now, if you would prefer, do it in the evening. But I'm just giving you the instructions how I do it. Start out your day by taking 5 minutes to yourself each morning at a time of your choosing. Now, like I said, it could be a time before bedtime. So take those 5 minutes. Be sure it's a time that you can feel comfortable and unhurried with no anxiety. In other words, you don't want to try this when you're already running late and sipping on your coffee and trying to rush out the door to get to work because you're running late. That's not the time to do this. Okay, so here goes the meditation. You already found that 5-minute time, and here's how it goes. Get into your breathing patterns however you normally do it, and if you don't, that's why I urge you to seek out meditation training. Very great many books and CDs and audios on meditation, and those are available at my website too. But okay, here is the meditation. There are 5 points to this, and it's going to go like this. You're going to start out with an inner breath and an outer breath, and you're going to get in a relaxed state of mind and you're just going to say to yourself, and you're going to think to yourself, I'm taking a look at the outer world going on around me, and I'm no longer going to judge it. Again, what you're going to do is take a look at the outer world going on around you without judging it. Next, it can be anything at all that you might notice. Maybe a car going by in the background, to a family member getting ready for their day, or even thoughts about your day ahead. You know, if it's before bedtime and the house is quiet, everyone's in bed, it could be a creak you hear on the house shifting or something like that. You know, we always seem to hear noises. So, you know, but whatever it is that you hear, just don't judge it. Just notice that it's there and don't judge it. Once again, do not judge it, because neither of it's good or bad. So we don't want you to judge it as good or bad. Just survey it. Kind of notice it. Okay. As you notice these happenings, whatever it is, quietly say to yourself, there is another way of looking at the world. Here it is again. There is another way of looking at the world. Then quickly shift your attention to your inner world, your spiritual thoughts. Your spiritual thoughts, that which is going on inside of you, in your mind, those thoughts of calmness, peace, tranquility. That's where you need to shift your attention to. Then repeat the statement, there is another way of looking at the world. That's all you have to do. That's it. That's the exercise. It takes 5 minutes. Be done with it. Let go of it. That's your first day. Tomorrow, the same time, do it again. Mark it on your calendar for 21 days. And I'm telling you, you will be shocked at how this will turn things around for you. I mean, you will absolutely be shocked. Next, start alternating between surveying your outer and your inner perceptions as you go through your day. But do so very calmly without being abrupt. You know, if you need to survey something outside of you that's bugging you a little bit, but just do so calmly. You know, merely glance casually around the world that you perceive as outside of yourself, and then close your eyes and survey your inner thoughts with equal casualness while realizing spiritual consciousness. You know, try to be equally uninvolved in both. As you are done and wrapping up the 5-minute session, as you are concluding, try to be equally uninvolved with even the spiritual essence you're feeling, your calmness of anxiety, getting rid of the anxiety in you, whatever. Just try not to be involved. Just kind of, be ho-hum about it. Oh, ho-hum, that was great. Now I'm going to go on and forget about it. Tomorrow I'll do this again. So try to look at this 5-minute period each morning as a personal time with yourself. You know, as you proceed through your day, then use the exercise in a more informal manner, in any downtime that you may have throughout the day, or whenever you find yourself feeling rushed or disturbed. For example, maybe you're stuck in a traffic jam. Rather than getting upset about why isn't the traffic moving, or it could be one of the ones I hate, standing in line at the bank or the post office, especially the post office. That gripes me the most. You got 5 windows, but only one window's open, and we're a big long line. I think it was I don't know who it was, a big marketing guru said the post office is the worst run business in the entire universe. But anyways, so don't let these distractions, this can be downtime where you can run through that 5-minute ritual, that 5-minute meditation in your head during these kinds of distractions that are downtime. It's important to maintain a feeling of detachment from your outer and inner worlds as you say to yourself, in a slightly shorter version I'm going to give you, there's another way of looking at this. Rather than saying there's another way of looking at the world, you can say, there's another way of looking at this. Like if you're in that line at the post office and there's only one window open and it just lines out, the air conditioning's broken, the post office. I brought that up because that happened at our post office this summer in the 90-degree heat. But, you can just say, there is another way of looking at this in your mind. Remember to apply this idea the instant you are aware of any distress. It may be helpful to take a minute or so and sit quietly, repeating the phrase to yourself while closing your eyes and using a favorite breathing technique. Now, if you're driving your car and you're stuck in traffic, don't close your eyes. But you can get away with that at the post office or the bank standing in line, especially if you're, way in the back of the line. The phrase can also be turned into a breathing meditation, like I said, anytime that you want. And to do so, just simply repeat to yourself aloud or silently, there is another way of looking at this, without judging when you say that. As you survey your inner and outer thoughts, without judging a single thing as good or bad, say to yourself, there is another way of looking at this. And take a nice breathe out. Please make sure you do this exercise, like I said, for the next 21 days. And I use 21 days because Zig Ziglar, remember Zig Ziglar? Zig Ziglar had always said it takes 21 days to form a new habit, and I firmly believe that. So I stick to that 21-day thing that I learned from Zig Ziglar. So do it for 21 days. And what you will be doing is learning more and more each day to tap into spiritual consciousness and have your perceptions come from your inner world rather from the outside world. And then those perceptions coming from your inner world will be bridged over to knowledge. The more you live from within this inner realm, the more you're going to be living from the truth about you, which is pure knowledge. I hope this made sense. And by the way, I have a related article that is at my blog, very similar to this. And it's about the light of spiritual guidance and what it does to sprout spiritual growth and success in your life. That's at jamesnussbaumer.com. You could just put /spiritual guidance. It's at my blog. You'll find it. I have a lot of blog articles, so you can find just about anything there on the same similar type topic. So I hope you enjoyed today, and I invite you to sign up for my Everyday Miracles Mastermind group. Now, in the beginning, you may want to start off with the free version of my Everyday Miracles newsletter, which is also somewhere around here at my website, where you can find, it says newsletter. If you're at YouTube, go to jamesnussbaumer.com, click the link in the description area, which will take you to my website, take you to this blog, and you will, all over the place, there's places offering you the free version of my newsletter. You can get that for starters, and then down the road, if you want to join our mastermind group, it's very cost effective, and the mastermind group is where we get together, and I, the author, and my group is the listeners and also participating. We bring our minds together as one for self-success and for a better world, and to help each other to lead successful lives. So you can find my books. Book 3, I just signed off in the galley proof. It's due to be released any time now. And I'm anxious for that. It's called And Then I Knew My Abundance. The first book, The Master of Everything. It's a story of mankind in the world of illusion we call life. Book 2, its sequel, is called Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom, Lessons from A Course in Miracles. These 2 books are at Amazon, are on sale anywhere books are sold. And if you go into your favorite bookstore and for some reason my books are not on the shelf there, please go to the counter and say, hey, why isn't this guy's books on your shelves? Can you please order them and get them here? That's what it takes. And it's up to the author to spread the word. And that's why I'm doing by saying this to you. My books are published by Ozark Mountain Publishing Company, and they're on sale. They're available wherever books are sold. So if your favorite bookstore doesn't have it, kind of, raise an issue about it in a light kind of a way. I hope you'll please support my work because many have benefited from this material, and I'm offering you access to a lot of good things. I wish the best for you. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Feel free to subscribe to the free version of my Everyday Miracles newsletter. Everyone is telling me they love it. I put a lot of effort into it too. So I wish the best for you. I hope you're thinking a lot about your own life and all the natural gifts from within yourself, not outside of yourself, from within yourself that you have that the world just wants you to share and extend. And that's how miracles are performed in this world, by true extension of self. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for listening, and God bless.